Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Warriors will look for opportunities to sign players who can fill the gaps in the roster. And bringing in an athletic center is the main gap. Rumors: Warriors want to sign Mark Williams from the Hornets. The Golden State Warriors' most recent 104-93 victory against the Milwaukee Bucks on Tuesday night helped to improve the group's record to 40-29 as they continue to maintain placement as the number 6 seed in the Western Conference. Golden State came away the victor in a contest where 2017 Defensive Player of the Year Draymond Green held Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo to 0 points and forced him to miss all 7 of his field goal attempts as his primary defender, proving Green is still fully capable of excellence in a small ball center role. While Green's continued efforts will not go unnoticed, it's plausible that the Warriors' general manager Mike Dunleavy could already be assessing his future frontcourt options and which candidates he'll look to pursue this summer. In fact, recent reports have indicated that Golden State may have a chance to perform a major offseason transaction for the Charlotte Hornets' rising center Mark Williams. Of course, losing out on their desired trade target could surely anger LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the entire Los Angeles Lakers organization after they famously rescinded a trade to land Williams prior to this season's February 6 trade deadline. On the surface, Williams seems like a good fit for a rebuilding team like Charlotte since he is just 23 years old and the Hornets can afford to take a wait-and-see approach with him in terms of his health, Bleacher Report's Mike Chiari wrote Wednesday. Even so, the Hornets already tried to trade him once, which suggests the front office has questions about his ability to be an impact moving forward. If the Hornets do make Williams available again during the offseason, Charlotte will likely have plenty of suitors given his age and penchant for impacting the game at both ends of the floor. One of Williams' suitors could presumably be the Warriors, who have already displayed a level of desperation through their trade deadline acquisition of ex-Miami Heat superstar Jimmy Butler. With Golden State aiming to capitalize on the remaining prime years of Stephen Curry's illustrious career, their front office could offer a package of Buddy Hield, Tracy Jackson-Davis, and first-round draft capital for the Hornets' up-and-coming paint presence and another potential franchise-changing player that may increase their title odds for the immediate future. At just 23 years old, Williams has exploded in his third season for Charlotte with more opportunity, as he's averaging 15.4 points, 10.0 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks while connecting on 59.3% of his attempts from the field in 35 appearances. For a talent that was originally destined to catch lob passes from the Lakers' generational playmaking duo of Doncic and James, Williams would instead look to assist Curry with notching his 5th NBA title and the 8th in Warriors franchise history. Though it would be a tough pill to swallow for the Warriors organization with regard to shipping Jackson-Davis away in this scenario, Dunleavy still may not hesitate to pull the trigger on a deal of this nature if the chance were to arrive this offseason. Warriors' next roster move is both imminent and obvious. The former top 10 pick is likely to return. The Golden State Warriors have undertaken their past few games with just 13 players on the main roster, with that proving a viable option given the franchise has retained relative health since the All-Star break. However, Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the front office only has a few days before they have to make a decision. Given teams can only have 13 players for a maximum of 2 weeks at a time, the Warriors will need to sign a 14th player by March 23. That means a roster move is imminent before the end of the week, with Golden State having already spent a 2-week period with only 13 players following the blockbuster acquisition of Jimmy Butler in early February. Kevin Knox is still likely to be the Warriors' next signing. There's not expected to be any surprises with what the Warriors do later in the week. Kevin Knox is still highly likely to be the franchise's 14th signing, having previously been with Golden State across 2 10-day contracts. Knox didn't take huge advantage of the limited opportunity he was given, but the former 9th overall pick still presents as a better option than alternative free agents. Knox showed enough to suggest he's at least a reasonable depth piece, having displayed an intriguing blend of athleticism, size, and shooting. The 25-year-old appeared in 51 minutes across 7 games with the Warriors, averaging 4.0 points and 1.6 rebounds while shooting 45.8% from the floor and 27.3% from three-point range. His most recent playing time came against the team that drafted him, having seen just over 12 minutes in the March 4 victory over the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Despite his last 10-day contract ending earlier in the month, Knox has not returned to the G League where Santa Cruz have played multiple games over the past week. That would suggest the 7-year NBA veteran is just biding his time for March 23, with Golden State saving important dollars with every day they wait to officially sign a 14th player. The 7-year NBA veteran earned his opportunity with some blistering G League form, having averaged 25.3 points and 8.8 rebounds on over 52% shooting from the floor and 44% from three-point range in 12 regular season games. The Warriors will also have an opportunity to sign a 15th player before the end of the season, with Braxton Key perhaps the most likely candidate as he continues impressive form with Santa Cruz in the G League. Warriors might move on from former number 7 overall pick, should Nets swoop in? The Golden State Warriors' most important decision this summer will revolve around their 22-year-old rising star. The Warriors are paying the trio of Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green nearly $140 million next season, and they'll also owe Buddy Hield and Moses Moody a combined $20 plus million. Golden State is almost certainly going to be in luxury tax land, and it will be impossible not to venture deep into that territory if they are interested in re-signing upcoming free agent Jonathan Kuminga, whose alleged wish to receive a deal in the realm of $30 million per year doomed extension talks with the Warriors earlier this season. Kuminga is a good young player, and yes, has star potential, but if the Dubs were truly afraid to lose him, an extension would have happened, regardless of the price. It didn't, which leaves open the possibility that another team with cap space could swoop in and pay Kuminga this summer. There are less than a handful of NBA teams set to enter the offseason with significant cap room, but the Brooklyn Nets are at the top of the list. The Nets are also in rebuild mode, which makes them a logical destination for an upside wealthy player like Kuminga. Kuminga isn't going to demand max money, so he might be a prudent signing for Brooklyn. They could snag him for slightly more than Golden State is willing to pay and still have plenty of room left over to add a max player, especially if they don't re-sign one or both of Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe. Kuminga's performance during the upcoming playoffs could still convince the Warriors to move some pieces around and pay him. If he plays well and Golden State goes on a run, the Warriors would probably feel inclined to re-sign him. A more likely scenario is that the Warriors have an earlier-than-desired exit from the playoffs in the crowded West and Kuminga hits the market, at which point the Nets will be in prime position to strike. Warriors predicted to deal ascendant talent for Jazz star forward. Kuminga's coming up on a $10.2 million qualifying offer for next season. He could, however, be used to reel in a talent like Collins, who has more polish at this stage of his career. What the Warriors lack at the moment is an everyday third option, as well as frontcourt depth. Collins would address both of those needs. The 8-year veteran is averaging 19 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 1 block per game for the Jazz. Collins averages 17 points, with identical stats in the other two departments from his second season until now. Though he would be a second power forward next to Draymond Green in Golden State, Collins could still prove to be useful. The Warriors have not gotten consistent play from Buddy Hield, who fits the bill as a tertiary option. Thus, they could use a more reliable scorer like Collins to supplement superstar Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler moving forward. Ex-NBA player makes statement on why Warriors need to avoid play-in. The Golden State Warriors had a tough start to the season, but that has changed since the NBA trade deadline. Since the deadline, the Warriors have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA and they have climbed from 10th to 6th in the Western Conference standings. Of course, Golden State's addition of Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline from the Miami Heat has played a key role in the team's recent success as he has fit perfectly alongside Stephen Curry and Draymond Green in the starting lineup. February 12, 2025, Dallas, Texas, USA, Golden State Warriors forward Jimmy Butler, 10, and guard Stephen Curry, 30, during the game between the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors at the American Airlines Center. Mandatory credit, Jerome Myronamain Images. Copyright Jerome Myronamain Images and #169, Jerome Myronamain Images. While the Warriors have been one of the hottest teams in the league over the past month, they are still in a fight for the final playoff spot as the Minnesota Timberwolves and Los Angeles Clippers are right on their heels to knock them into a play-in spot. With the top of the West being stacked with good teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder and Houston Rockets, the Warriors do not want to drop to the play-in, and former NBA champion and current ESPN analyst Udonis Haslem recently gave his thoughts about it. Neither Oklahoma City or Houston in the first round is gonna play out well for Golden State, Haslem said on ESPN's NBA Today. Of course, no team wants to face off against the Thunder in the first round of the playoffs, especially with how they have dominated their way through the season thus far behind MVP frontrunner Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Rockets would also be a tough team for the Warriors to match up against, but they are currently in a fight with the Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Lakers and Memphis Grizzlies for the second seed. While both matchups would be tough for the Warriors, with how they have played lately they may be able to take down any of the top teams in the West once the playoffs begin. Despite this, they would likely much rather secure a playoff spot than fall into a play-in spot so they do not have to face one of the top two teams in the opening round.